up, y'all? It's your girl Jamie, and today is Vlogmas day 20. But just to keep it real with y'all, it's the 21st, so that means it's Brooklyn's birthday. So in honor of Brooklyn's first birthday, I'm going to be talking about my labor and delivery story from when she was born last year. So get you a snack, because we're probably going to be here for a while, so get you a snack, get you whatever you need, and let's sit down and let's chat. Before anything else though, go ahead and subscribe, go ahead and hit the bell so that you do not miss another video, especially during this Vlogmas season, okay? Whew. Where do we even start? So I had a great pregnancy with Brooklyn. I had a great pregnancy. Very grateful, very thankful that I didn't have any like major issues, any major problems or anything like that. I was very healthy throughout the entire pregnancy. She was very healthy throughout the entire pregnancy, so we thank God for that. So yes, Brooklyn is our only child right now, and so this was my first full-term pregnancy. I was 22 when I was pregnant with her, but I turned 23 before she was born. So my birthday's in August and I turned 23. Her birthday's in December. Actually, on my birthday, that's when we did her gender reveal to everyone and celebrated with a few friends and things. So that was really cute, really fun. And yeah, initially I wanted a boy. I always felt like I wanted a boy first, you know, like I feel like everybody kind of wants a boy first so that your kids have like that older brother, you know. But once I found out I was having a girl first, I was super excited because I just love kids in general, but I feel like girls, like, it's so cute. So I love having a daughter. Having that mother-daughter relationship is so beautiful. I can't wait to just watch it blossom and grow and just and she's so sweet. She's the sweetest baby. That's how I knew, like, first of all, the pregnancy was so great that I just knew like she's gonna be chill. Okay, only time I had any problems was when I was hungry, because baby gotta eat, and she would get fussy in there if I didn't eat on time, stuff like that. And then if I wore like tight clothes or like leggings and like the elastic was like on me, she didn't like that. She didn't like stuff like being on her like that. And when you're pregnant, you just know, you just feel what your baby's feeling, so you understand like they're not happy or they're irritated or they're whatever. So with that being said, let's talk about this labor and delivery. So I actually got induced because the doctor told me that there was no real reason to like go over 40 weeks. And so every time that I would go to the doctor and like get checked, like I was only at like barely 1 centimeter dilated. So they told me that, you know, there was really no reason to like go over your due date, so you can get induced if you want to. So we set the induction for whenever our grandmother was coming in town from Italy, because we wanted her to be here. Since Michael's parents are in Liberia, so they say grandma. So we got induced we went to the hospital on the 20th. We went to the hospital to get induced on the 20th, and we had Brooklyn the 21st. So let's talk about it. Which, it was kind of cool. Like, I always wanted to like have my water burst, and then we're trying to figure out, you got the bag, you got this, and but it just didn't work out that way. And now that I've actually been through the experience, I'm kind of glad it didn't work out that way, because my nerves can't take all that. It was very calm. Like, we were like, okay, everything's good, you got the bag, let's go get in the car. Like, it was very calm. So we get in the car to go, you know, to the hospital, and it's around like whatever time it was. We didn't get to the hospital until 1. So we got to the hospital at 1 p.m. So we just made it to the hospital. Got Grandma T, Mikey. We are ready. They were just like, yeah, just relax, get settled, and that's pretty much what we did. It wasn't until about 3 o'clock. We got there at 1. And at about 3 o'clock, they started me on Cervidil, which is the medicine that's supposed to soften up your cervix and, you know, get the dilation going and stuff like that. So they started me on Cervidil. And you know, they say like whenever you, when you're in labor, like you can't eat and stuff like that. So I was like, can I eat? Because I don't know how this is about to go. And one thing about me, I'm gonna eat. I wanted Wingstop. That was my last before baby meal. I had Wingstop. And baby, when I tell you I tore those wings up, I usually don't eat all of my wings. Like if I get like a 10 piece or whatever, like I usually don't eat all of them. I ate all the wings and the fries, I think. Yeah, I ate. I ain't even gonna hold you. I ate, okay? So I had Wingstop. That was my last meal and it was delicious. So that was around like 4, 5, like I ate, you know? So now, you know, I got the Cervidil and you're supposed to have the Cervidil in for about 12 hours. And I think it's like a tampon or it's like something that's like inserted. And so you're supposed to have that for about 12 hours and let that work. So, you know, after I eat, you know, I'm chilling and stuff like that. And it's like a few hours later and I start to feel like the cramps. I start to feel like the stuff. I was like, okay, something's happening because I'm feeling like kind of crampy and stuff. So then I don't know how, like what time, but I just know like the contractions started because they're cramped. So the contractions are starting, but then they were starting really fast because I was looking at the monitor and I can see the contractions starting on the monitor and I was tracking them on my phone because, you know, like when you're pregnant, you have on the app, it says like, oh, this is really for people that are like laboring at home. But I was still curious, so I'm like tracking them on my phone. And the nurse is like, get some rest. Like, I'm looking at the monitor, I'm tracking them for you. Like, don't worry about it, you get some rest.
I tried to take a nap, but it just really wasn't working. I wasn't getting that comfortable. And then by the time I did kind of get comfortable with me coughing on my pillows, and that's when the contractions started picking up. So
the contractions were coming, but they were coming very close together and very fast. So it wasn't like super painful at this point, but the contractions were coming quickly and very close together. So what they did was they gave me something in the IV for like just hydration pretty much, or just something to like slow down the contractions because they were just working too fast. And I'm pretty sure it wasn't like that much progress going. It was just a bunch of contractions. So they started slowing down the contractions at this point. So at this point, they checked me, checked my cervix. It's about 2:30 a.m. That's when they went in to stop the Cervidil because, you know, it's the 12 hours. So they started the Cervidil at 3 p.m. and they stopped it at 2:30 a.m. So once they stopped the Cervidil and they checked me, I was at 3 centimeters. So at this point, like, maybe we in labor, okay? At this point, like, it's dark. It's 2:30 in the morning. So we're kind of tired, but it's like the labor has started. So we were watching Martin actually. So I'm watching like Fresh Prince and Martin and stuff. And we had an oil diffuser that was, you know, puffing lavender so that we could have just like, you know, that soft smell going through, like that calming smell going through. And so it's me, Mikey, and Grandma T. And so the contractions are coming, so I'm pushing, I'm holding it down. You know, I'm like, okay, I'm just trying to just stick with it, you know, because I want to have a natural birth. Like, I really wanted to have a water birth, if we're being honest, but I was like, you know what, it's my first kid. Let me just go to the hospital, make sure everything is great, right? So I wanted to have a natural birth. I didn't want any epidural, any pain medication, nothing. I just wanted to get out. So it's 2:30, well, it's after 2:30 now. I'm at 3 centimeters. So we're laboring, but then like, because they're giving me so much like fluid, I keep having to go to the bathroom. So every time I go to the bathroom, I have to unplug all the cords and stuff, walk with the big long IV thing, and go to the bathroom. Once your bladder gets full like that, and you're contracting, it just hurts so bad. So then I'm laboring, like standing up a little bit. So like I would like hold on to Mikey and like sway and just like kind of, you know, I wanted to like lean over so all the pressure of my belly would just kind of lay low. So I was on him and I'm swaying, and we had some gospel music playing, just something to like keep my brain off of that, because I'm telling you, at this point, these were real contractions. It wasn't just period cramps, these were real contractions. So they come in waves, and it's like, and you get to that point and you're just like, ooh, and then you're like, okay, it's going. And as they go away, then you open your eyes, you're like, okay, it's still hurting, but okay, I'm here. So, and I just felt it all around, like through my back. It just felt like it was like a ring, or just from my stomach to my back around, just contractions, right? So then they brought in the labor ball for me. And so I heard that's like really supposed to help. So I was like, yeah, let me get on the labor ball. So I'm like squatting on the labor ball, and I'm rolling, and I'm like hunched over the bed, and I'm like rolling. And I will say that it did alleviate a lot of the pain. But what I know from my pregnancy is that sometimes I would be sitting in certain chairs and I would start to feel like a little bit of pain, or just like I felt like baby didn't like that. Like, and I think it's because my belly would like sit in my leg. It was just all that pressure. So yes, I was feeling better when I was contracting and on the labor ball, but at the same time, it just really wasn't like all that comfortable for the baby. And the reason I know that is because the nurse that was like looking at, you know, both of our numbers and stuff on the chart, she would come in like, oh, well, we just gotta adjust some things. Like, you know, we're not really catching like the baby's heart rate the way that we're supposed to. And they were seeing that there was like a dip in her heart rate whenever I was getting a contraction. And it was more so a pattern like that when I was on the ball, which sucked because I liked being on the ball, but it was just, I don't think enough oxygen was getting to her while I'm sitting on the ball. So once they started saying that, I was just like, okay, well, I'm gonna get in the bed. You know, like, I don't want no problems. I'm gonna get in the bed. Like, I need me and baby to stay healthy. I need us to just be good. So at that point, I couldn't really like stand up and like do everything that I was doing. I was just like in the bed. But when the contractions were getting bad, they're still like keeping a hold of the contraction. Like the band that they put on your belly was like moving and stuff. But besides that, they were just trying to keep an eye out, because now they seen like, you know, that her heart rate was kind of dropping with the contractions. So I remember at one point, I was holding on to my key and I was just like, I can't do it. I was like, it hurts so bad. Like, I just can't do it. And I was just starting to feel defeated because I told y'all, like, I really wanted to do this naturally, you know? And I was just like, man, this ain't it, homie. Okay, fast forward a little bit. My doctor comes in, my OB comes in at 5:30. So it's 5:30 and they're ready to see like what kind of, you know, progress I've made, because they last checked me at 2:30. So it's been 3 hours now. So they're like, yeah, like, let's check you, let's see what's going on. So she goes in, you know, to check me, and when I tell you it hurt so, I don't even want to scare y'all. I'm not trying to scare y'all, but when you're contracting and you're in active labor and they go in to check you, it hurts so bad. And I was like screaming. I was like screaming at that point. I was just like, oh my God, okay, you got it, you good? Like, what's up? Like, and then like Ashley's like up there, she's like, I'm gonna go ahead and break your water. And I'm like, no, like it hurts so bad, because I don't know what it feels like to break your water. So I was like, no, like we can do that later. She was just like, well, I'm already kind of here. It would kind of be better. Like, do you want to go ahead and do this? And so I did want her to break my water, but she was kind of like negotiating with me, and I'm like, sis, just do it. Really, like, you over here negotiating with me, like you could have been done it by now. Because I was just afraid of how it would feel. But at the same time, I was already in so much pain, like it really didn't matter. And she was just like, we're just gonna go ahead and break your water. So she broke my water, and that whole however many minutes that took hurt so bad. I was just like, just break it and go, ma'am. Just get out of there, because whatever you doing, I'm just, that was the most pain I had felt at that point. But that's not even the kicker. You know what the kicker is? After she broke my water, she was just like, yeah, you're still at 3 centimeters. So you mean to tell me all of that laboring I was doing, all those contractions, all of that, and I'm still at 3 centimeters? And she was like, well, you know, I would suggest that you get an epidural, because we still haven't started Pitocin, which is the medicine that really is supposed to like fast track labor, like get everything going. Like we still haven't started Pitocin, and we just broke your water. And when your water breaks, or whenever they break your water, whatever, that's usually when a lot of the activity starts happening as well, a lot of the progress. So we're like, she's like, you're at a 3. If you're in this much pain right now, you might want to go get the epidural. So I was so upset. I was just so sad. I was like, I don't want an epidural. So we like, just give us a minute, let's talk about it. So
change of pace. I'm in front of the camera now. But yes, right now it's 6:02. And my trooper here is doing such an amazing job. She's doing great. So the pain is starting to intensify. Just broke our water. And the contractions are now getting stronger, more intense, and more frequent, or closer together. So we opted to get the epidural.
doctor leaves. We talk about it for all of 60 seconds. And I'm like, yeah, babe, let's just go ahead and, because like, of course I didn't want to, but I needed it. At about 6 to 7 a.m., that's when I got the epidural and the Pitocin. The epidural was not that bad. I think I was just scared to get an epidural, and I was scared of the effects of an epidural, because people be like, oh, my back, oh, this, it didn't work, or I just didn't want to go through that. And I was crying. I was very upset about getting the epidural. And the nurse asked me, she was like, are you upset because you gotta get an epidural? Like, are you upset to get it, or are you just upset because, you wanted to do it natural? And I was like, honestly, it's a little bit of both. Like, I wanted to do it natural. I wanted to just thug it out. And not only that, like, I was a little scared of that needle, but it's not like a needle that goes up your spine. Like, let me just debunk that for you real quick. There's not a needle that goes up your spine. They put a needle in so that they can, it's like a catheter kind of situation. And so once they do what they gotta do, I'm not an anesthesiologist, but they put like this, like a tap through. So it's like this little string or whatever. And that's what stays in your back. And that's what, you press the button and they pump out the epidural as needed. So I was in there with the nurse, and as I was getting the epidural, I had a couple contractions, and like, you have to like lean over and be still, because they're working with all kind of sharp stuff, and this is your spine we're talking about. So I'm like leaned over, and she's giving me the epidural, and I know at one point I was like, ooh, it's a contraction, it's a contraction. And I'm like squeezing onto the nurse because it hurts so bad. Like, when you're having a contraction, it's best to just kind of like move it out, or like breathe it out, or just think about something else, right? Because if you think about it, it's gonna hurt even more. So imagine going through that kind of pain, like period cramps on 1,000, and then they tell you to be still and not move. Forget about it. So anywho, so I get the epidural. Man, I go back in the room, the epidural kicks in. I'm feeling good. Like, I was like, okay, I'm gonna do my brows a little bit. Let me get myself together. Like, my doctor, she came back in, and she was like, wow, like, you look like a whole other person. Like, you don't even, she was like, there's no point in hurting yourself. Like, you don't have to struggle. Like, at least now you have the epidural, you can relax a little bit, and you can actually enjoy your birth. And I'm so glad that I got the epidural. But shout out to all of you mamas who have done it naturally, whether you had to or whether that's just what you wanted to do and you were able to do it. Shout out to y'all, because it gets real. It gets real. So a couple hours later, it's about 9 a.m. and they check me, and I'm at a 4. So at this point, they're like, get you some rest. Like, it's still gonna be some hours before baby comes, so get you some rest. So I took a nap. It was the best sleep ever. I'm so glad, man. I'm so glad, because I don't know what I was thinking, trying to do it without no epidural. Like, even my next kid's like, baby, I'm already ready. I'm like, right here? Right, you got it? All right, cool. Yeah, just tell me when, doc. Just tell me when. I'm not even about to play those games and try to be Mr. Tough Guy and not get an epidural. Like, I'm over that. Like, I feel good about myself getting an epidural, and that's just that. So it's like 1 p.m. at this point, and they check me, and I'm at remember I was at 4 at like 9. So So it's like 1 p.m. and I'm at a 7 now, which is great because you only got to get to 10 centimeters before they can bring the baby out, right? So I'm at a 7, so everything's great. But the only thing about it is at this point, the way that she was positioned was, because she was head down and low and all that other stuff, but she wasn't low, like down into the birth canal the way she needed to be. And she was facing up, so they call it like sunny side up. So the doctor, or one of my nurses, had me laying in different positions and like on the side and stuff like that because they wanted to kind of get baby to turn naturally into the correct birthing position. So at this point, like, they had me on the side with my leg in the stirrup for a little bit, then she would come, put my leg in the stirrup, whatever, just trying to get baby to, like, I think it's called like labor down. So then at this point, she also puts in an internal baby monitor, which is like, because the baby was low down enough, so it's like a little something that like sticks on their head or something, I don't know, so that it was better to like track her heart rate and stuff like that, because the one that they put on you kept moving a lot and they're moving me around a lot, so it was hard to keep up with the baby's, you know, vitals with all that movement. So they put the internal one. And then also they were still noticing that with every contraction, or like, you know, whatever contractions, based on the different positions that I was in, they weren't catching her heart rate correctly, or they noticed that it was dropping with the contractions. And it was usually when I was on my back, because she doesn't like when I'm on my back. When I was pregnant, laying on my back was not okay. Like, she would get irritated. Like, I would just feel it inside. Like, she doesn't like when I'm on my back. She liked it better when I'm laying on my side. And so when I was on my side, it was great. When I was on my back, they were like, oh, we're seeing some stuff going on. And it was a little bit scary, but I was just like, I tried to tell them, like, keep me on my side. Like, that's just how she likes it. It was about 3:30 p.m. and they checked me and I was at a 10. So I'm like, hey, we at a 10, let's get it. I'm gonna have this baby, right? So I'm at a 10, right? And so we started what they call practice pushing. So it's pretty much just push, you know, but it's just like practice so that you can tell. So they started the practice pushing on my back. And they were like, okay, let's stop, because I would do them just like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then mind you, when you have an epidural, you're numb, like you don't feel none of that. I couldn't even feel my legs. And then like as you feel like the epidural is wearing off, you get to press the button and you feel this cool sensation down your back, and that epidural starts kicking in even more. So you know I pressed that a few times, okay? And so I did that. I'm numb. It's time to push. And it's like, you know how to push, like, you know in your mind, but physically and like muscle memory wise, you don't know if you're really pushing or not. So I'm 2, 3, you know, and they're like, you're on your back and they're like chin into your chest and you're doing that. But I'm just like, I don't want to birth like that, because even beforehand, I never wanted to birth on my back, because I've done enough research to know that there's a lot more birthing positions that will better suit you and the baby. And so I never really wanted to push on my back. So these are the practice pushes, and I'm pushing on my back. And they were like, yeah, no, like it's not working, and baby's heart is dropping. So I'm like, okay, what about on the side? Like, can we try it with me on my side? Because I know that that's a better position. So I don't quite remember if we did that, but I know that to recover her heart rate after it was dropping on my back, they put me on all fours. So, excuse me, so now I'm on all fours to recover after I do like my back. So then I'm like, well, can we try to push on all fours? Because obviously if this is a better position for her to recover her heart rate and stuff like that, like, let's try to push on all fours. So we're trying to push on all fours, and they were like, push, like you gotta poop, like push. So I'm like, all right, like let's do it. And I'm doing it, and which is normal. If you didn't hear it, if you didn't know that before, like sometimes you poop when you're pushing because it's all in the same area. So yeah, I sure did, and I don't have no shame because they say like if you poop, that means that you're pushing correctly, and that's all I cared about at this point is pushing correctly. So it happened, and mind y'all, like Mikey's in there the whole time. Mikey is a trooper, okay? Hands down. He saw me go through all that pain. He held my hand, he held my leg, he saw the poop, everything, like, and he was just down. You know what I'm saying? He's down for the cause. So, anywho, we're still trying, and the baby's still not getting down low enough. And so then we started practice pushing on the side, and they put one of my legs like in the stirrups, and I'm practicing on the side, and still like she would get down low enough, like they would see her hair, but still like she just wasn't really getting down into the birth canal as much as she needed to be. And so at this point, the doctor has started calling people to like prep for C-sections, like prep the OR, and I'm like, I think not. Like, I'm not having no C-section. Like, that was never in my birth plan. Yeah, I always said like I would do it if need be, but I was like, nah, like it's not happening. So at this point, like I'm tapped in. I'm like, okay, cool, whatever we need to do, like let's do it. So she said, we don't want to risk her heart rate, like keep dropping like that with the contractions and like every time that you're pushing. So what we can suggest is to do like an assisted birth. We can either use the vacuum, which I guess is what it sounds like vacuuming the baby out, or we can use stirrups, which are like these metal things that can go in and like help push the baby out while you're pushing, so that it'll give you less time of pushing, because we don't want her in there too long while you're contracting, while you're pushing, because her heart rate is just not really for it. So I'm like, okay, talk with Mikey, and we're like, all right, let's try the assisted birth. So we tried the assisted birth with the forceps, and so we're pushing, right? And so it's working. And so they're like, all right, like this is it, like, you know, you got a few more. And so like we're pushing and we're trying, and still like she just wasn't low enough in the birth canal. So at this point they're like, you got one more push. And at this point it's like 4 p.m. and they've tried to do the forceps, right? And the doctor tells me like, I'm gonna give you one more push, because we're like, it's like 10, 9, 8, or however, I don't even know how long, but I just know I was putting my all into this, man. Like pushing is hard work. They don't talk to you like enough about that. Like it's not pushing like, it's pushing like you're like you're trying to poop. Like you have to push like that, not up here. And so I'm pushing as much research as I've done, as many books as I've read. I know I'm doing this right. You hear me? So she tells me, she's like, I need you to push. I need you, this is the last push, because you know they're watching the monitor and things are just looking not like how they should be. So she tells me like, I'm gonna give you one more chance. Like if you don't get this last push, we gotta take you to the OR. So I'm like, legs. I'm like, all right. And mind you, I'm back on my back. Didn't tell y'all that, right? Okay, I'm back on my back. But I already know, like, it doesn't work on my back. Like, it just don't. So, I'm back on my back, and this is the final push. If we don't get this baby out in this last push, you have to go get a C-section. So I'm like, Lord, I start praying. I'm in my head, right? I'm like, okay, this is it. They're like, all right, let's go. Take a deep breath. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're pushing. No baby. At this point, she's like, all right. She's taking everything. She's like, all right, let's go. And I'm just like, I start bawling. At this point, I just shut down. Like, I don't say nothing to nobody, and I'm just crying because I know they're about to cut me open, bro. Like, and I just never thought like I would really have to do that. So I'm crying. I've shut down. I'm crying, and they're like, all right, like we gotta get Michael like suited up and stuff like that. And he's like just talking to me and praying. He's like, it's okay. Like I don't even talk to Michael at this point, bro. Like when I tell you I was talking to nobody, because deep down inside, like I'm pissed. I'm pissed at this point, and I'm crying. So they wheel me out. They get Michael suited up, and so, you know, so we gotta have a C-section now. And so that's another reason why they had urged me to get the epidural when they did, because they didn't want anything, they didn't want to get to this point and then you have to worry about getting a C-section, getting an epidural. When you're in so much pain, you gotta get ready for a C-section. Like, that's just too many moving parts. So it's like 5 o'clock and they're wheeling me in for the C-section. And I'm not saying nothing to anybody. I'm just crying. I didn't even like open my eyes until we get into the room. So you get into the room and it's so scary. I've never had surgery before in my life. So the lights are bright as this ring light, but there's like 6 of them. And they put your arm stretched out like this. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? And I just remember like there's just so much talking and everyone. And so I finally say something and I'm like, I'm not gonna be able to feel this, right? Like, y'all gonna give me some more epidural? Because I don't wanna feel nothing. And they're like, yeah, like, we're gonna get you some more. And I was like, is she gonna have to be in the NICU? Like, I'm scared. I'm just like, I've never had surgery before, so I'm literally terrified. So the doctor's like, my OB, she's like touching me. She's like, do you feel this? Do you feel this? And I'm like, I kind of feel it. Like, I don't feel it, but I feel like where she's touching me. So the actual surgeon or whoever comes in and he's asking, he's like, is this an emergency C-section? They say something like, well, we're having a hard time finding the heartbeat or something like that. Like, we can't really recover the heartbeat. And they were like, so is this an emergency C-section? And I'm just like, bro, there's like differences between the C-section and the emergency C-section. So at this point, I'm like, where's Michael? You know, like, where's Michael? Because they told me that he was going to be suited up and come in there. So 2 things. They have to give me more epidural, right? Because at this point, they don't have enough time to give me more epidural for it to kick in. And the second thing is, and the reason why they don't have time is because they're not finding her heartbeat. So now they have to move quickly. So now they have to put me under. Bruh, usually in a C-section, they don't put you under, okay? You're just up and they do what they have to do. Everything's kind of numb. Now they have to put me under. Now, not only do they have to put me under, but because they gotta put me under, Michael can't come in the room. Now I'm about to lose it, right? I'm upset. And at this point, I'm like, I'm by myself. It's just me and God. So because it's me and God, I start praying. Just like, Lord, please, Lord, bless the hands that are about to touch me to help the baby. Make sure everything goes okay. Lord, be with them. Lord, work through them. I am praying like I have never prayed before because I don't want anything bad to go wrong, you know? So I'm so distraught. I'm distraught. I've had to have an epidural, didn't want one. I've had to try with forceps, never even thought that through. I've seen her heart rate going down and coming back up. Now I have to have a C-section, never really wanted that. And to top it all off, my husband can't even be with me, bro. Like, I'm a whole wreck. And I'm thinking about him, like, man, he's gonna be so sad. Like, he's putting on his whole suit thinking he's coming in here. Like, what? I wonder what's going through his head, you know? So, you know, they put me under and they're like, just really put the mask on you, and they're like, breathe. And I'm trying to stay up because I'm like, when I want to be out, I want to be out. Like, I'm not about to like act like I'm out. No. So I'm up and I'm just breathing and I'm looking up and I'm breathing. All I know is I took 2 or 3. Next thing I know, I wake up and I'm back in the room and I see Michael and he has his whole full surgery suit on with this hat and everything, and he has the baby blanket wrapped in his arms and she's here. And I was so it's an indescribable feeling. Cause like I always thought like I would push and have the baby see, but it didn't work out that way. But it still worked out. You know, like she was healthy, everything was great, but I just remember laying on the table, closing my eyes. I don't even remember closing my eyes, opening my eyes, and I just see my husband and my baby just standing there waiting for me to wake up pretty much. And I'm just crying. I'm just crying because I was so happy. I was like, it's over, you know, like the stress of all of that, like it was stressful because things were taking turns and we had no like idea things were gonna go how, like it was very stressful. And this is your first kid too, like it's a lot. And so he has this big smile on his face and he's just holding the blanket and like she's like crying, like I hear her like start crying and stuff, and so like I'm crying and they're like, Mom, you want to do some skin to skin? I just start bawling, like Mikey's bringing me the baby and I'm bawling. I can't even, it's like, it's blurry and foggy. I can't even see him walking up to me at this point because I'm about to meet my baby for the first time. I'm about to meet my baby for the first time, like, and you know, they got me into surgery around like 5 and she was born at like 5:35. Like her birth time was 5:35, but by the time I seen her, because Mikey had already seen her, met her, everything, like.
Yes. Sorry. I'm so excited.
I was in the recovery of surgery and stuff. I don't remember none of that either. So we get back into the room and it's like 6:30 and they finally put her on me for skin to skin. And it was just the best feeling ever. Like, we made it. We're here. And she was crying, but like once they put her on me, I'm just like, it's okay. It's all right. Like, and then she stopped crying. And she just and I'm like, cause she's been through a lot, like all those contractions and everything, like she had been through a lot, but she's finally here. December 21st, 5:35 a.m. a star was born. And that's why we say that, because she's a miracle. She's a miracle baby. Like, she's just such an angel to us. And so the doctor is telling me everything, like giving me the rundown, because obviously I was out of it. And so the reason why she wasn't really descending down into the birth canal where she really needed to be, and also why her heart rate was going up and down, is because her cord was wrapped around her neck. And mind you, that's pretty normal. Even people that have natural births, like the cord wrapped sometimes and it's okay, but hers is wrapped like 2 or so times. And so that's why, like, it was hard for her to go down, because it's like bringing her back up. And so I'm just like, wow, like I'm just in shock. Like I just, it was a lot to take in, just to see her just finally there. It was just, wow, you know, like, it was just crazy. And then just to have her finally in my arms, like, nothing beats that feeling. Nothing beats that feeling of just finally having your baby in your arms. And now she's a year. Like, there's so much more I could say. I might do like another video if y'all want me to, just about more about the pregnancy, or just, you know, postpartum, stuff like that. But I really just wanted to focus on the labor and delivery of it all today, and just like the kind of strength that you have to pull through when you go through these things is immaculate, like literally immaculate. And so we spent the next 2 or 3 days in the hospital because I had a C-section, and that was rough. Once the medicine wore off and like the epidural and stuff wore off, man, you are sore. Because it's major abdominal surgery. They have to go through your skin, then your fat, then your muscle, then your this, then your uterus, and then stitch all that stuff back up. Like, yo, it's a lot. It's a lot. So that recovery was nothing I could have ever prepared myself for, I'll tell you that. But I would never do it all over again. I'd do it all over again for her. And even for my next children, like, you don't have to have a C-section again after. You can have vaginal after. It's called a VBAC, vaginal birth after cesarean, but we'll see. We'll see when that time comes, because we do want more kids. So we'll see. But for right now, like, we're at year 1. Year 1 of parenthood, year 1 of baby Brooklyn. It's in the books, and we couldn't be more happy to be her parents, and we love her so much. We had such a great time celebrating this weekend, and just celebrating today, you know. It's just amazing. I love being a mom. I love motherhood. I love kids. Fun fact, I was actually going to be a doula. I was going to work through birth work. You know, I wanted to be, and some of these things aren't completely out of question yet. I wanted to be a doula, childbirth educator, lactation consultant, and then also like postpartum doula, like birth doula and a postpartum doula. I still want to tap into a couple of those things, but right now I'm just focusing on motherhood, because I know that there's a lot of energy and work that goes into being those things for women, and right now my capacity doesn't have that much room for that. It's all towards being a mom, being a wife. So that's where I'm at with that. But yeah, that is my labor and delivery story. It got real, but God pulled us through. And I couldn't be more grateful, more blessed, more thankful for all the support that I had through my pregnancy, all the support that I had through the birth. Like, a lot of people were pretty concerned because we didn't really like answer calls. Like, once they knew that we were in the hospital, a lot of people kind of calling, but I get overwhelmed, you know, and I'm trying to just focus on the baby. So we were just trying not to really take calls, but we didn't want to worry people too that were very concerned about us. And so we were just kind of focusing on the baby, focusing on us, and making sure everything went smoothly, which it did by God's grace. To my baby Brooklyn, I love you so much, Mama. This is our labor and delivery story and how you came into the world, and I would do it all over again 1,000,000 times for you. I love you so, 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 so much, my baby. Happy first birthday. I can't wait to see you grow. I can't wait to I just can't wait to life with you. I mean, it's already been amazing in our first year, so I know it's gonna be bomb.com for the rest, because you got some bomb parents and you're a bomb girl yourself, okay? So that is all for my labor and delivery story. Comment down below how you feel, what you think, if you have any questions, and if you want me to do like more motherhood videos, like, let me know. So I'm not gonna hold you any longer. I'm gonna go ahead and end today's video right here. Go ahead and turn on that bell, because you don't want to miss another video in this Vlogmas season. And thank you guys for watching. I know a lot of people were wanting and waiting for this video to come out, so thank y'all for being patient. Thank y'all for just being a listening ear and just wanting to hear more about me and my baby. So that is gonna be all for Vlogmas Day 20. Michael is actually taking care of some Christmas gifts right now, so it's just me. So make sure that you like, share, comment, and subscribe. And we'll see you guys tomorrow for Vlogmas Day 21. Y'all know I can't get my numbers together. 21.